Hey y'all, welcome to Witty Witty Banter.
I'm Monica.
And I'm Paola, and today we are interviewing the couple behind PlugHub.
Yes.
Bing, 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 bing.
And they're also going to be a part of our Christmas collective, so I guess this is kind of like a part 2.
No, part 2, yeah.
And then we're all festive with our epic sign over here.
Because we're all Team Grinch. Hashtag.
That's what we mentioned with PlugHub, so let's get going.
Yeah.
I love the intro, y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like energy.
We worked really, really hard on it.
Yeah.
We've got it down, 19 episodes in. I think we've got it down.
At some point, yeah. Because at some point we were saying each other's names.
Oh, no. That's funny.
All right. So definitely introduce yourselves to our audience and tell us how it all got started.
Hey, guys. My name's Chaisten. Yeah, so all of this started in 2017 is when we actually met. Jordan was like in this network marketing company and I was just working at a bar and he had a meeting and we met, and as time went by, we just kind of started he started really asking me really it was like, what are you doing working in this bar? Like
a pretty face like
that. Like he didn't say that, but he said that with his energy. I just see so much more in you. He literally told me I feel like you could be the next Oprah Winfrey.
Oh.
And so we just started kind of going over business ideas, things that he liked. Obviously, I wasn't in that headspace. I was a single mom of 2 in survival mode, and just I was working 7 days a week, trying to make a living for my kids, So he was just I got these 5 business ideas and I'm gonna tell you all of them. And I was like, okay, come on, let's do it. And so he tells me 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he gets to number 5. He's like, okay, this one is the stupidest one ever, but I'm gonna say it anyway. And I was like, okay, go ahead. And he's telling me about, at the time, wasn't anything. It wasn't PlugHub, but it was PlugHub before PlugHub became PlugHub.
Yeah.
And I was just oh. And in my head, I was ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
My creative intelligence really started flowing. Ooh. And I was just when he was done, I was that is the most genius idea I've ever heard. And he was really? I thought you were going to think that was so stupid. And so at the time, PlugHub was really when you think of Linktree, that's what it was. So it was before Linktree even came out.
What? Okay.
So a little bit different. It was more it's going to be for people in different what would you call it?
Just different businesses, different. It's just a way to categorize people,
but in different districts, within a certain mile radius of each other.
Yeah.
So when you think of Favor, the Favor app, how people deliver stuff, and you can find somebody in your area that can do a chore or something for you. It was kind of a mixture of those things. So it's crazy when all those things came out, because I was see,
we
but
started this.
The government listened to us.
Yeah, and so
Listening
immediately, that night, it was funny too, because at the same time I was actually pregnant. So we only known each other. We met in February.
Wow.
I was pregnant pregnant by August, and we were pregnant with this new idea.
Yeah.
Wow. And so it was
2 babies right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
She hit me with the when we're sitting here the whiteboard.
Yeah.
We're writing the idea and the names. I think it was either the other side or another whiteboard. She told me that she was pregnant on the other one.
Yeah, I was look at this idea, and it was said.
I don't think it was planned. I don't.
Yeah,
think
it was
so.
Congratulations, you're gonna be a dad. And then he looked at me and I
thought she was doing
camera.
a prank on me.
Yeah, he was huh?
You're where's the phone? Where's the camera? Where's the camera at?
Yeah, and so we ended up going to Walmart at midnight that night. I was let's go to Walmart, let's get a whiteboard, let's get some expo markers, and let's start planning. And so and I remember too, I don't know if you guys are into numerology or anything that, but at 111, which was also the time that he was born, was the time that we came up with the name PlugHub.
She even has a screenshot, so
yeah.
I'm getting chills.
Yeah. So it was definitely an alignment, and I didn't actually realize that until years later when I was like, wait, and I started zooming and I said, I'm getting chills too. I was like, this is 111. This is when we came up with the name, and I have him on the whiteboard, like writing. And so it's funny because we actually had 3 names, so don't laugh, y'all. So
I don't know. No promises, girl. I may laugh.
The first
We
name,
listen and we
don't judge.
Oh my God.
That is so funny. Y'all judging me though. I know.
No.
But so the 3 names was Plug City,
Okay.
Mr. Plugged.
Yeah,
That one would've
I'm
been
so
fun.
glad that
I know.
Face.
And then Plug Hub. And like when we saw the one Plug Hub, we were just like,
Now, mind you, at that time, you got the other hub, the
Yeah.
porn hub.
Yeah.
You know? So when people
yeah,
see
that's
us in
true.
public, it is a tension and grabber because people snap their neck back like, huh?
They're like,
and then
huh?
like, oh, I thought it said something else. You know.
so it was definitely like a attention grabber for us that we didn't really like think about until we started thinking about it. And it was like when people are turning their heads, they're like, what? And we're like, oh no, it says Plug Hub. Like, and they're like, well, what is that? And so it helps us like talk about what we do.
Yeah.
Like an
Definitely
icebreaker.
gets your
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
attention, regardless of where it comes from specifically. Because I've seen other people use kind of like let's say it's like a corn person, like
yeah.
Corn Hub, but they actually use like the same colors and the
Yeah.
same design.
Yeah.
And y'all don't. Y'all
Yeah.
have like y'all's own little, and you can kind of see it on your
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sweater and
Yeah.
also with the
Mhm.
network on there. So
And so it was originally just Plug Hub. And then when we were creating like the domain for it, Plug Hub was actually like, what happened? Like,
It was
like
taken,
somebody used it.
but they didn't use it. Like they took it, but they didn't use it. It's
they
like
just took the name.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I was forced to extend it, and this is where I tell people if there's a name that you can't find, just extend it. So if there's an Instagram user handle that you're wanting to use, extend it, and then whenever you're out and about, just like you have a full name, but I'm not going to call you your full name.
Yeah, I
and-
did that with my fan.
Exactly.
yeah, and it made sense because it's like, well, we are a network, we're a community, so the Plug Hub Network. And then like it was something that we didn't really think we were going to use, but then we really started using it because it just rolled so well. But it also helped people know what we were.
Yeah.
Like, instead of just saying what's Plug Hub, they knew that we were like a network of something.
Right.
So let me tell you this too. So the reason why we even got into the network part of it was because at the same time that we came up extending that name, when we started it, we didn't actually do anything with it for the first 2 or 3 years. So in 2017, we came up with it. And, you know, us being human, we were scared like someone else was going to try to take it or something like that. And mind you, at this time, we were broke. I'm talking about we were in rebuild. We were staying. Because like what happened was we had a lot of ups and downs when we created it. Everything was cool, and then we had like a little drop. Like it wasn't just a drop; it was like a just jump, walk off the edge.
It was
of
like
cliff,
a drop
you know?
into a pit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was like we had to so Plug Up started really like the build up of it at the bottom, and because I was like, well, I need to get out of here, get from this bottom. I got a family, you know, what should I do? And obviously a job was only going to be a temporary solution because, you know, still paycheck. I needed something else to build on the side. So anyways, when 2020 came, we started doing logos and websites and stuff like that. So it started being a little bit different. It started off different. It was more, we're helping businesses, but how can we actually help them? And because I was, you know, involved with MLMs and things like that and network marketing companies, I kind of saw that atmosphere and I kind of took everything that I liked. I liked the networking. I like the personal development and books and people traveling, the retreats, the conferences. And I was like, I want to take all that, but leave out the other stuff where everybody's selling the same thing. So if you think about Mary Kay and stuff like that,
Yeah.
everyone's selling the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
But as of us, we met people from all walks of life that were talented that just no one knew about, or like they were kind of like hidden gems.
Yeah.
And we just was like, well, let's do like a, you know, a network, like let's build that, you know? And we started doing dinner parties. Like the first thing we ever did, was it the lake or was it the dinner party?
So to expand on what he's saying a little bit, like our first community we ever built was online and it was global. So it was like all around the world.
Yeah.
And we had a group chat, and Jordan created a Facebook group, and that's how we would communicate with people. And mind you, it was during COVID. So everybody was longing for a sense of community. And so COVID, I know that it was very detrimental for a lot of people, but it was a life changer for us.
I bet. Yeah.
It was the foundation of everything for us. And we started doing logos, like he said. So we were doing like $30 logos, like $30, and it carried us through COVID. Logos and helping people build their online foundation with websites. And I remember when we made our first $1,000. Not gonna lie, have you ever seen those pictures whenever people hold the money up to their ear?
Yeah.
Yes, that was me. I told myself I would never do that, but I was like, I have this picture forever, and I'm like holding the money up to my ear.
Just for motivation.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's so important to celebrate those small milestones, no matter how big or small you think they are. You have to celebrate them. You have to keep yourself motivated.
And I love the fact that y'all have like documented moments of those. We're gonna need those, by the way.
Yeah. You submit them so we can post them.
Yeah,
we definitely have been documenting this journey, because you
never know who's gonna make the documentary.
Netflix.
Netflix. Hey, that's the goal.
You're already manifesting it. It's gonna happen.
Netflix, give them a call.
Yeah.
But like you said, like just documenting it and making that first $1,000, like for us, like that was a really big deal, because like I said, it was COVID. At the time we had 4 kids.
Yeah.
And he got laid off. So nobody had a job. We didn't know how we were going to pay our bills. So
our landlord lived
in our complex. We lived in a 4-plex.
And so we had to drive past him every day.
He was the first one. It was the last one. Yeah.
I didn't want to go outside anymore. Like,
I just imagine that scene from Family Guy with Stewie. Stewie and Brian.
Where's my money, Brian?
Yeah.
That's what it's
24 hours.
And so like it was not only was it just like coming from like families who work 9-to-5s, who are very blue collar, what we were doing was foreign to them, and so we were getting so much backlash from it. No support. So when we made that first $1,000, we was like, you see this big flex,
big flex,
and it doesn't seem like a big thing to people, but to us, we were like,
huge.
We did this on our own together. We believed in the vision, and so that really catapulted us into knowing that, for one, we were capable of making that amount of money.
Amen.
And we were capable of taking care of our family by our vision and our purpose. And so then we started building that online community, and Jordan would host group calls, and we would connect with people all over the world. And then we were like, okay, it's 2020, but it was 2021 at the time. 2021 came around. We had our first dinner party at Papado's in Arlington.
Hey, I love Papado's.
I remember when we first did it, like we were kind of nervous, because it was like, this is the first time that, because like what she was saying about the global, the problem was, we can never see these people.
Right.
Probably never will see these people.
Right.
So we started to say, okay, well, let's niche it down. And this is kind of one of those hard lessons where it's just like, if you just niche, you can get going quicker. And we focused on, okay, well, let's just do it in person. And then when we did Papado's, then
and I know one of the biggest things, like for Jordan, when we first started doing like our dinner parties, well, for both of us was like, are people going to show up, and is it going to be a lot of people? Right. And so one of the things, like in the beginning, that we kind of had to get grounded on was like, it's not about the quality of people. I mean, the quantity of people who show up, it's about the quality. Amen. So even if 5 people, 2 people, 3 people show up, those are the people who are supposed to be there with you. Period. And so our first dinner party, I think 19 people came.
Yeah, we had
really good.
I think honestly, we had a target of 20 or 25, and then 19 showed up. So it was cool, It
was really fun. We did like some giveaways. We were trying to think of creative things to do to get the community engaged. And at the time, we were like still younger and still trying to fit in with the crowd who didn't really have kids. And it just wasn't. We had a lot of realization that, okay, I don't know if we're going in the right direction with our target audience.
Yeah, they were all in the party still.
Yeah.
And drink at bars and do, they wanted us to have these gatherings in places where we couldn't just show up. Like we're like, hey, we gotta get someone to watch the kids first, you know. Which she's gonna we're gonna end up telling you this is what changes down the road.
The identity of PlugHub has changed, or I will say has grown and evolved into alignment with what it was supposed to be through all of like the trials that we had to go through and trying to figure out what it really was that we were trying to offer and who we were trying to offer it to. And so we ended up having like a couple more dinner parties after that, and then we had to really have a sit down because we were like, we're investing so much energy into this. And yes, we're building a community, which was always our number one priority. But we are very talented and skilled, and we deserve to be paid for our gifts.
Amen. You can say that one more time.
Yeah, we are talented and skilled, and we deserve to be paid for our gifts.
Yes.
So, but we were like, the only way it makes sense is like if our community is winning, we're winning. So we have to make sure that they're winning, right? And so we were like, but a lot of our community that we are now, you know, acclimated with, like, they all have kids. And what we're doing is not kid friendly. So me and Jordan had to have like a sit down and talk, and I had to be like, hey, look, we're not kids anymore. Like,
what actually happened, let me tell you, is bounce a little. What happened with bounce?
I missed something. Hold on.
See, what had happened was.
So what happened, the epiphany that struck me the most, I think it kind of did with her, but I'll let her kind of talk on that, was when we went to a family reunion. And this was in Kansas City. And all of my, mind you, we're the only ones, except for maybe 2 days ago, but I'm an uncle and she's an auntie now. So 3 days ago, my brother had his firstborn. But before that, most of my cousins don't have kids, and my brothers and her brothers don't have kids. So we're the only ones that get left out of everything. So what happened was we went to a family reunion. We all rented out this hotel. And what happened was the power went out. And like, mind you, have you been inside of a hotel with no power? Oh, it's scary, right?
But it was an old like school for nuns.
Yeah, and basically
in Kansas City, Missouri. It was scary.
So anyways, so what happened was the family for 2 nights in a row, they went out and we weren't able to go. So the first night when the power went out, we were stuck with the kids, and it was like the kids, the young adults, and then the elderly, right? The young adults went out and had fun. They went on a party bus and everything.
And we had to watch them leave.
We literally went outside and just sat there and looked at them leave. And it was just like a knife to the heart. And it made me feel, me and her, so bad that we were just like, we don't want to feel like this. And I know that there's other people that feel like that, because like, whenever I want to go to other networking events and business events and things like that, kids are not allowed. Don't get me wrong, we're not always having our kids at the events, but it's like nice to know that there's an alternative option. Yeah. And we were that alternative option for people that were like, yo, like, I want to go out and promote my business and this and that, but I got to leave my wife at home, or I got to leave my husband at home because they got to stay with the kids. So some of the businesses are family businesses, and they do it together. And we created something where people can come together. And the markets is one of the ways that we allow people to do that, because you can have your table set up, you know, your kids run around over here at Epic. You know,
they're enjoying their time at the park.
Yeah.
And while you're selling and exchanging, and then on top of that, other people may have other kids that those kids are playing around with each other. So it's like a real village. Yeah. And our long-term goal, really, from the dinner party to doing the first market in 2021 or 22, we were like, okay, like, we see the vision, and, you know, we just kept going and going. The long-term goal for us is like, we want to build PlugHub into like a fraternity and sorority internally for the people that want to be a part of this community and really actually do real big things. Like, yes, it's cool, like, to talk about business, but I don't even want to only have these relationships to talk about that, because some of these people are struggling with they're alone. Like, when you graduate out of high school, if you don't go to a college and be a part of a university, say, yeah, I'm a proud North Texas Eagle, or, you know, whatever, you know, or a Longhorn, or you're a crazy sports fan, you kind of lose sense of that community. Or even if you don't go to a church or anything, like, you kind of lose your like you gotta think about it, like as creatures and animals, like wolves are packs, like they go together, birds are flock together. So why as humans, why are we alone, and sometimes that causes like mental issues and things like that. I'm telling you, I like
it's true. We were never really meant to do things spiritually.
Yeah.
We were never really meant to be alone. We are never meant to be people or human or creatures of just loneliness. And so I love that aspect of thinking about that spiritually, and not just on the business side, but mentally and physically as well, emotionally.
And that's where like we really want to, because they're like with the options that people have with us, they can come and be a vendor with us 1 time, 2 times, and be like, okay, cool, I have my time. And then there's a few other people that's like, yo, I think I found my tribe. Like, I really like what they're doing. They're transparent. Like a lot of these groups, you don't even know who the founders are.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're hidden.
No face.
Yeah, and like with us, we'll put our face out there, not because we just want to be in the spotlight, but it's just like, hey, we're out here. This is who we are, and this is what we're doing. So, and I'll take the time. My role is more of educating and teaching. So I'm like, hey, this is marketing 101. This is how to build a community, because I teach people how to build a community around their brand. So that way, like, I call this thing a mixtape mentality, where if you're trying to get your music out there, sometimes you got to go out there and give out some breadcrumbs or mixtapes for free on YouTube, or CDs. Back in the day, CDs. Yeah. And until those people become fans and then purchase tickets to go see you. And same thing with all businesses, it can work the same way. So we teach that in PlugHub, because we don't want to just send people out and just say, hey, it's a business networking. We want to make it beyond that, to where it's like, yo, like they're giving us a boot camp, where they're like putting us through challenges, and that's what we do. And just in a nutshell, that's kind of what it's turned into. And we just want to really keep everybody together. That's for us. The people that see us, they're like, I'm gonna go over here. Like we don't want to promote that you got to wear a collar, you got to dress up, to come to our meetups. You can come who you are. You can come in Crocs. You can come in your socks. So,
Yeah, I remember that day very vividly in Kansas City. Like, I remember whenever we sat there and watched everybody leave, and I remember Jordan was silent, and he literally went inside, and I think, you just went to sleep.
It changed that day.
And it was pitch black. And I said, oh, yeah, his brain chemistry got altered tonight.
Yeah.
And the ride home was like 9 hours. And like, obviously a few days later, but it was just like one of those moments where it's like, okay, we need to kind of reevaluate the direction we're going and who we're trying to target. And that is when like PlugHub really evolved into when I explain it now, I tell people we're an organization for entrepreneurs with families.
Yeah.
And when I say that, and it's somebody who has children, they're like, like they light up, because they're like, oh my gosh, I have never felt like I could be welcomed into an organization for entrepreneurs, because like he was saying, like we would get invited places and like we could never go together. It's like either he goes or I go, or like we're just not going to go at all, because we
Guess
would
what
rather
happened
be
today. I met this and I'm
like we would rather be together.
It's a team effort.
Yeah, like
it's a team effort in so many different ways, not in just business, but as family.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where you don't want to be without your partner.
No,
it doesn't.
Your family.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's times where I'm like, okay, I gotta keep the kids home.
Yeah, we need a break. We need a break.
Don't get me wrong.
Balance.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's people in our group that also don't have kids, but those are the prime people that don't feel like they belong anywhere too.
Yeah, the black sheep.
Yeah. All of us.
We're both
in some
like
case
that
are black
in our
sheep,
family
or in
too.
some case we're all outcasts. And if you really think about it, like as a collective, we're all kind of in a similar like situation like that. You know?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we're super excited to have you for the Christmas Collective, and there's just so many different things that are going to be a part of it. Can you tell the listeners and viewers kind of like what y'all are going to be bringing to the Christmas Collective market? Because this is going to be amazing.
It's going to be huge.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, so we will have a Grinch appearance. So, coming out, we will have vendors, activities, some photo ops, things like that. Really, while everyone's going to the concert, we also want to make sure people that are just kind of hanging out it's networking out here.
Yeah.
Because we don't want our vendors to just sit there and just twiddle their fingers. Like we tell our vendors that if you're going to be on your phone, you got to leave. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we can take pictures, but network, like somebody else can be in that spot. So we want to make sure everyone's friendly, having a good time, taking pictures. I mean, we've met people that have came and made a best friend from our event. I mean, too many times. And I mean, I remember one time there was two people that did crochet, but they did different crochets. And it was Anna and I don't know. I was trying to shout them out.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Y'all know who you are.
Oh, and Aileen, and like they started off with us here, but outside, but they became best friends. One of them started a vlog. One of them, it was cool. They go to other markets to support. So we want to promote that here, where people are collaborating and really coming together and just giving the audience that comes out a good time right before the holidays.
Yeah. So like what we try to do with our, like, yes, we host markets and pop-ups, but we really promote them as networking events, because you want to go into this thinking like, okay, who can I meet today? Who can I connect with? Jordan has a motto. What is it?
What's your motto?
You're one connection away. And literally, if you really think about it, it's true, because one connection can open up a whole door.
Or 20.
You know what I'm saying?
It might not happen right then and there, like if somebody is money driven all the time, like it's not going to last, and we won't accept a vendor if it just says they want to make money. Like, everybody wants to make money. We all want to make money, but you can still do that in the back end with the connections you make.
Yeah.
And so like, if you go into an event like, oh, I want to make all this money, and then you don't make all that money, it kind of gives you a bad taste in your mouth. And now you're like, well,
bad mouthing.
I don't want to go to that.
You're looking for somebody to blame.
Yes. And of course, it's going to be us, And so we like to, on our application, we actually have check boxes, and y'all don't be trying to lie about this.
No.
I feel that energy. Okay.
She looks straight at the camera and she said, first of all.
So we actually have check boxes that say, what is your main purpose? And it's like connect, sales leads, exposure, network. And if they only connect, or if they only, pick the sales one, we don't accept them as a vendor, even if they're like an extraordinary vendor, because we're not looking for people who are only looking for money. We're building a community. Like I said, like, yes, we host markets, but our number one priority is building a community. And that's why we focus so heavily on community-driven events and stuff like that.
And you're sticking true to what y'all, created to begin with, you know?
Yeah.
So
I really love that mentality too, because I'm a big believer that money is energy, and however you carry that money and you pass it on, that energy is going to continue to evolve, and how you give that money is how that money is going to return to
back.
you.
Yeah, and how you treat it is how it's going to treat you. And like, literally, like you said, energy, like we call it currency, and currency is energy, and it's like infinite. And it's like, you can always get your money, but it's like, are you going to build these connections and be resourceful?
Are you going to have this energy with you everywhere you go?
Yes.
And that connection, that community is really that foundation of that energy. So I really love the philosophy behind your organization. And
very, very intentional.
Yes.
Like, when we choose people, we do pay attention to their profiles. We do look at their energy. We pay attention because we visualize every vendor collectively. It's a ball of energy at the event, and obviously that can that could be a magnet for great experiences. And obviously you can probably think of another scenario when everybody there wasn't a vibe, where you can say, okay, that makes sense why that
and
bad thing happened. You know what I mean?
Feel it. You can feel when the energy is off, and it's just really heavy. And like, one of the things is so funny, like, y'all are probably gonna think this is funny, but Jordan actually, like, we both do it. So we have read this book called The Magic. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. It's by the same Rhonda Byrne. She wrote The Secret. I don't know if you guys have heard of that book. And Jordan has a power band, so he calls it a power band.
She talking about this?
The green one.
I was like, I saw the Marco one.
Yeah,
shout out, baby. I love you. That's my boyfriend's name.
So this was it says plug up. It goes in the dark, but we call it a power band.
Yeah, and so like, when you be like, when you join PlugHub or become a member with us, you get a power band. We started giving those out in 2020 when we did our first dinner party, but he tells people, like, it really intentionally, like, when you wear this is powering you, like, this is like intentional, like pure love in this, and it carries the energy of abundance. I mean, abundance is our natural essence, you know, and it's just about tapping into that. And sometimes people need gentle reminders, like, when I look at this, remember to be abundant. When I look at this, remember to be grateful. And so whenever we're at events, like, we mingle with our vendors. Like, we don't just leave. We actually mingle with them. We talk with them. And we notice, like, somebody's kind of like, oh, like, I don't know, like, getting discouraged. Yeah. Like, Jordan or myself will go over there and just be like, especially Jordan though, like, cause you know, he's like really, really social with everybody. Sometimes I do feel like I'm like, okay, my battery is like here, let me go over here real quick and then I'll come back. Yeah. But recharge. Yeah, recharge. Sure. And so he'll tell them like, okay, like, he'll explain the senses, the 5 senses, and then he talks about the 6th sense, which is obviously our energy. And he's like, well, what is your energy like? Let's check in with yourself, you know, and like, let me sprinkle this magic dust on you, like, you know, like sprinkle this gratitude on you. Like, out now, you know? I'm receiving it. So some good luck for the day. And one of our vendors, well, it's happened to multiple of them. Thank you. Where they were just kind of. Bro. Oh, that's so funny. I love this, but yeah, like, where they're just not really making sales, and then like you go and you just help people with their confidence, and you help them realize how powerful they are, and you sprinkle your magic dust on them, and and you help them change up the way their setup looks, and you let them know like, hey, from here on out, you're going to have a good day and you're going to make sales, you're going to sell out. And he will make them say it out loud like statement. 3 times.
I love it so much.
Like, he'll be like, say it. And that's kind of, it sounds aggressive, but it's just like, he's like, what we're trying to do is like, we're trying to train people's minds, like to help them remember of their power.
Empower them.
And
just like a plug.
A plug.
Look at
that. Okay. Gotta get that electricity, that energy. You know what I mean? Look, I even tell her, I say, if you're down and you feel sluggish, get up, do some jumping jacks, clap, scream. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, you know,
shake your hands.
You know what I'm saying? Punch air.
Sometimes,
you know?
like,
there's a picture in front of it.
Yeah.
Like, you're a bad bitch.
Remember that. But my thing for a while was like, you're that bitch.
You have the podcast, actually.
I do.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I do plug it in.
Tell them the name.
I have a podcast called Blooming Into That Bitch. Nice. It's about enlightenment and how we live in our true authentic power and be our most authentic self, and how that helps us attract our tribe, and how it helps you align with the things that are really for you. Because sometimes we think things are for us because we're like in this moment of, I would say, like desperation or unknowing. And so we try to like be different or act different or be like that person or that person. And we try to change the way we look, we dress, try to change the way our social media looks because that person's doing it like that. And we're not really going to see the right results because we're not going to get connected with the right people because that was for that person and you're trying to be like that. But when you live in your most authentic form and you be your most authentic self, you're vibrating at the highest frequency in this universe. It's higher than love, and love can be felt through all dimensions. So just imagine how powerful this vibration is that you're vibrating on, and how you're aligning and connecting with the people that are for you. And so that's what I talk about in my podcast. But
definitely gonna have to tune in.
I need to get back on that though.
And subscribe for sure.
But and so we've kind of like, by the way, y'all, I don't know if y'all know this or not, we have 5 kids, and so we have kind of learned to navigate like our life with the different changes and how we show up as our most authentic selves, which a lot of it goes into showing the shit show that goes on behind the scenes with our kids.
Absolutely.
Being authentic.
And they come with us, and like our vendors are like, oh my gosh, like I feel so validated because my kid is running around. I don't know what's wrong. He's going crazy over there, but so is mine. Y'all can go be crazy over there together, and everything's good. And it's like we didn't have a village, so we created that. And
I think ultimately, because we had talked about it a little bit before we started the podcast, about how, you know, when we first started this podcast ourselves, our promise to each other was to never be fake. Was to never be fake. If a cuss word comes out, a cuss word comes out. You know,
we're gonna be our authentic selves. We're gonna be transparent.
There isn't any part of our lives that we're gonna hold back or hide, because I think as performers, we're meant to look a certain way. We're meant to be a certain way. We're meant to look available
to uphold.
When in reality, like, she's married, and then I am also in a relationship and have a bonus child with this person, you know? And so that was something I could never do in my music world. But in this podcast world, we promised each other, like, we're going to be authentic. We're going to showcase when we are sad or when we are dealing with things. I deal with seasonal depression. So right now it's a very weird time for me between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so I love that aspect of y'all, you know, with your kids. Kids are going to be kids. Right. You know, and I've come to learn that as I'm dealing with a 5-year-old going on 6. Kids are going to be kids, but it's the way that you work through it and you handle it with the community that you do have, because it does take a village too in that aspect.
Literally, like right now, one of the members in our community is watching our baby. And if it wasn't for us building this and creating those genuine connections, we probably wouldn't even be here right now, because
or one of us would be
here, because family is not going to do it, because they got to work, and they just different generations of grandparents these days. Now they do help us sometimes, and I'm not going to say that they never do, but it's just different these days. So
it's just part of the aspect of like when you have your own business or whenever you're trying to thrive and be successful, not everybody's with you,
right?
You know, and so
they can't understand it sometimes. A lot of the times our families see us go through so much hardship. They're like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, you're stressing me out. So do something else so I'm not stressed out.
Right. It's not about you, though.
It's like, I'm stressed, but I'm cool. You
I'm
know,
stressed,
like,
but I'm blessed.
We're doing it. And you just have a lot of those up and down moments, you know, but having people by your side who understand you and genuinely love you is so important. And that's so... I'm not even going to say it's hard to come by these days, because it's not. No. It's out there. You just have to be authentic and align with those people. Yeah,
for sure. And I want to circle back on the power of believing in yourself.
Yes.
Because when you believe in yourself, there's that confidence that comes attached to believing in yourself, because then nobody else can say shit about what you're doing, how you moving, because I believe in myself so hard that this is already mine. Yeah. Even if I'm going through a dip in it, this is already mine. It's mine, because I believe in it so hard.
I feel like with me, through all the times, I just told myself, like, I was put here to do big things, and
your purpose, your why.
Yeah, and I to this day, I really believe, like, that's just what my thing is. You know, I'm here to connect people, but I'm also here to, like, I have a special mission, and I feel like, because I go through tough times, I rewire and tell myself that, hey, if other people wants to do this, obviously, they won't be able to continue, but I'm going to continue because I have something greater. And because I'm going to continue to do it, it's going to all work out. Like, everything's going to fall into place. I trust in divine timing. Yep. And I just know that, everything's going to work out the way it was supposed to be, even if I don't see it. And that's kind of where, I don't even know if we talked about it in the beginning or if we talked about before, where we were saying, like, when one door closes, another one opens. Yeah. And that has happened a lot, especially this year, Yeah. A lot. I mean, even with betrayals and people that's stabbing us in the back.
Like, even working with, Yes.
And I'm sure,
my gosh, look, it seems like sometimes I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, am I the drama?
Is it me?
Am I the drama?
Why am I like this?
Yeah.
Girl. Yeah.
No, I've definitely had those questions.
And I have to be like, no, it's not me, because I'm moving out of love, for one, always.
What is my intention?
Yeah, my intentions are pure. It's just that sometimes when we start trying to do bigger things in life or elevating, people will fall off because we're not in alignment anymore. And that's okay. You don't have to hate people or talk or badmouth them or nothing like that. You're just not in alignment anymore. And that happens a lot. Have you ever noticed, like, whenever you are really cool with somebody and then y'all fall off and you just like never see them again?
Yeah.
You never run into them again?
Are y'all reading my journal? Like, what the hell? This year was like a big, huge year of discovery for me, and discovery within myself and self-loving, because I struggle with that too. And so believing in myself, it has its purpose, but it's always been a kind of autopilot purpose driven. You know what I'm saying? And so this year was that of like betrayal and not really vibing with people that were in my life at some point, and that could go with anything, with personal and with business and with just in a matter of things. So that's why I'm like, because we talked about it a lot. And so I mean, it's great that you rise above it. It's great that y'all have the energy together to rise above it, because I know sometimes it can be like, it's not always going to be 50-50 in any aspect of business. And so we talk about that.
A marriage, a family.
Yes.
And
there
so
ain't no plan B, bro. You just keep pushing. Ain't no plan B.
Like, sometimes, you know, we do like get really like down on ourselves because sometimes, like, and everybody does it, you know, being real, like, we try to compare ourselves to other people who are doing similar things to us, but then we have to like really remind each other, like, we're not doing markets, we're creating a movement for one, and we're doing it with 5 kids, and we're doing it full time, and we don't have support, and it's just like we can't. Comparison is what is it, the thief of joy.
Yes,
absolutely.
We do, and people do it so often, and it's like, this person might be in chapter 3 of their life and you might be in chapter 1, or they might be in chapter 10, you might be in chapter 5, or vice versa. And it's like, you don't really know what these people are going through. They could be also going through a similar struggle, and social media just shows snippets of good things. It's not real, but it's like, has everyone deceived. And it's just like, we have had a lot of times where, I mean, me, like, I'm just like bawling on the floor, and I'm just like, what are we going to do? How are we going to pay this bill? Like, are we gonna get evicted again? Like, our first event that we ever did, y'all, it's so funny. It's not funny, but it's funny.
You can laugh at it now.
Yes.
We were at the event so happy. We're like, all right, we're getting evicted tomorrow. Literally.
Literally went home after our first successful event. After we were like, yes, we finally like hit a milestone, and just to go home just with the little note on the door. So.
Dude, that's crazy, because I was thinking on my way here, I was like, man, life is so nuanced. Life is full of so many different emotions, so many different things that happen in your life, that one moment, literally in the same day, in the same minute, you can feel one thing and then feel another thing right after the other. But it's like, I think that life is that opportunity to practice getting out of these situations, practice leaning on each other. And like, you guys have created this whole community and movement that is a testament of the nuance of life and the joys that come with the hardships. So I think that it's incredible, and I really love your story.
And it's very unique. It's not like every other market. It's not like how you were saying. Y'all built it from scratch, and that's like the most important thing. It's a uniquely built community. And so, man, like,
and you got to see it.
I did.
We were performing at the Jam Box.
Over here at Epic Central. If you don't know, there is a lot to the Epic, not just here at the Epic Recreational, and not just where everybody knows, which is the indoor water park over here. Epic Central has a lot of different things going on. There is a Jam Box out there next to Serious Eats, as well as Vedora,
Chicken and Pickle.
And then of course we have our own little Bellagio water show that goes on, and so there's a lot to do in Grand Prairie.
And so you can come witness that December 19th
over here at the Epic.
We will have a Christmas collective that's going to have a market. The Grinch is going to be here, and artists coming together to perform Christmas music.
And
do you guys have anything else to leave the
only thing I would say is, if you are a creator or you're thinking about starting just anything, honestly, don't really focus on anyone else, because the people you see have probably gone through something that you're not going to go through. You're going to go through your own stuff. So just make sure you focus only on yourself. Compete with the person in the mirror. Make yourself 1% better every day. That's 365% a year. You know what I mean? So make sure you only focus on your craft, because there can only be one you, and no one else can duplicate that. Because if you're making something, right, let's just make an example. Let's say you're making, clothes or something like that, or even food. Your special season can't be compared to someone else, because someone else can try to recreate the same thing, but they never will, because it's your special touch. And there can only be one you. So just keep focusing on things that you're doing, and you'll stand out naturally just by being authentic.
Yeah.
And I would say that always remember your power. You were given that goal and that vision for a reason. You're the only one with that vision, and it was planted in your heart for you to be able to execute it. And just get in tune with yourself, align with your goals, and don't listen to the outside noise, and just go for it. Take the jump and build your jetpack on the way down.
Yes.
Period.
Love it.
Yes.
So definitely make sure to follow them on all social media. We're definitely going to shout out your podcast, of course. And then follow, subscribe, Witty Witty Banter. We also have a Gmail, wittywittybanter@gmail.com. This was awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Follow us, PlugHub Market, PlugHub Network on Instagram.
Yes, PlugHub Market on Instagram and PlugHub Network on Instagram.
Yes, they got a lot of amazing stuff, guys. A lot of content. Y'all's content is off the chain.
Fun.
Like, seriously.
I love it.
Y'all really do really good.
I used to be insecure about that, actually.
That was actually one of his biggest insecurities. Like, I can't, I'm tired of creating graphics. Like, they don't look good. They don't look good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that shit is fire.
Right. No, but
See
for
that
real.
believing in yourself.
If you ever needed any more encouragement, we love the content.
We love the content.
We're actually wanting to get more involved in our content, as well as, really launch TikTok for sure.
Yeah.
But then also we're looking for sponsors. So that is the next topic that we're going to talk about in our next episode.
Yeah.
We are looking for sponsorship for Witty Witty Banter. So make sure to follow, like I said, all social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and then all of your favorite streaming platforms. But until next time,
Bye.